Hello guys, and welcome back again to the Tactic YouTube channel for our another video installment. And now for something completely different. Yes, this is a computer case, and you may notice that this is one from Fractal Design, one that is rather small. So small it's almost as long as a high-end graphics card, and so small it can play with this stuffed dog of ours. By now you probably already guessed it right. This is the latest edition of the Fractal's Mini ITX case portfolio, the Node 304. To sum everything up and stop teasing you on what are we going to do in this video, we are making our Steambox machine build guide based on a recently published official specification from the Valve. As you can see on their website, they will ship their prototypes with different range of Intel Haswell core processors, new GPUs from Nvidia ranging from GTX Titan to GTX 760 and older GTX 660, 16GB of RAM, 1TB of hybrid drive with 8GB of flash for caching, 450 watts of 80 plus gold power supply, all encased with rough dimensions of 12 by 12 inches with 3 inches in height. That will be a pretty small case even comparing it to the Node 304, but as you can see from our hardware list, we managed to put equally good hardware in it. Just a reminder, and you can probably notice, this is not a fully optimized build considering the price range and some of the choices in regards of picking the components. We just had some components laying around to mess with, and that turned out to be a great opportunity to build a Steam machine mockup. Basically, what are we going to do is take a closer look of our chosen components, see the functionality of the Fractal Node 304 case in this scenario of the Steambox build, and of course to run down some benchmarks. So, let's go inside the Node 304 and look all the components up close. For cooling the Intel's i7-4770K, we use the low profile cooler from Noctua, the L9i, so it doesn't get in the way of cables inside the case. You can check our unboxing of this cooler by clicking the video in the right top corner. Although this cooler can withstand this Core i7 model to some measure, don't plan on doing any overclocking with it. As you can see from the testing results, it can easily go up to 100 Celsius degrees in the Prime 95. For that we recommend using tower design cooler like the Noctua U12S and U14S, especially since this case can accept coolers up to 160mm in height, but bear in mind that you will be very limited with cable management. Although it is a mini ITX board, the Gigabyte Z87 and Wi-Fi has plenty to offer. On the back of the case you can see a full-fledged input-output back panel with even 2 GB Ethernet ports and an antenna connections for the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi. Limited with its size, there's not that much SATA ports on the motherboard, just 4 of them. There's also one PCI Express 3 x16 slot and 2 RAM slots in which we put 2 modules of 8GB 1866 MHz Kingston HyperX Beast RAM. You have to admit that they look pretty cool. They fit perfectly with the rest of the also black components. Although only 2 RAM slots will probably be a compromise for few users, with total maximum of 16GB of RAM, you won't have any problems if you plan to play games, surf the web and browse multimedia. Right now you're looking at a drive cage, one of 3, which can hold up to 2 drives each, and in there lies one of the most expensive components of this build, the Samsung Evo 750GB SSD. Yes, it's overkill, we know it, but since we had it, we let ourselves loose. Beside it, there's also Western Digital Black 1TB hard drive. We decided to use only one drive cage since it can handle both drives, and this way we have more room for cable management and better airflow. For power supply purpose, we are using the Fractal Design Value Module Integra R2 650W with its 80 plus bronze certificate. It's a bit stronger than it needs to, but hey, it goes great with the Fractal case. You could probably put something along the line of 400 or 500W platinum or gold, or even a passive model of power supply. You will see a dedicated cord included with the case that goes to the power supply, since it doesn't have direct access to the outside of the case. Be sure to install it with a fan facing downwards, so it can get fresh and cool air. As for the cool and fresh air, on the front it is provided with 2 92mm fans from the Fractal R2 Silent series. By pulling down the front panel off, you will see a dust mesh and a filter for both fans, and that is also the extraction point from where you can pull down the fans. On the back of the case you will find a big 140mm fan, also from the R2 Silent series, and that's about it in regards of cooling the case and the intake-outtake of the air. The fan speed can be controlled with the back switch with a high, medium and low level. All of them are connected to the controller via the three 3-pin fan header, which are powered by one Molex power connector. Let's put back the RAM on the board and install the graphics card. The Gigabyte GTX 760 WindForce edition of graphics card is a pretty long specimen. It fits just perfectly into the Node 304, with its just below 300mm in total length, leaving some room for the power supply cables. It is powered by one 6-pin and one 8-pin PCI Express power supply connector. Everything is tightly screwed down with the additional backplate that holds down the graphics card, and onto that you screw on a standard set of 2 screws for graphics card which occupy 2 slots, which is also for this case a maximum number. We have continued with connecting the rest of the necessary cables that will make our Steam box work. Since everything is really cramped up, you will have to have nimble fingers and some patience to connect everything right. As we said before, there's not that much room left for doing a proper cable management. The only thing that you have to keep in mind at this point is to try not to get cables stuck into any of fans, especially the back outtake one and the CPU fan. The rest of the cables that you don't need simply tuck away into a convenient place which doesn't interfere with other components. Yes, this looks really messy, and although you would think that the modular power supply would be a better solution for this build, you would be wrong. The room between the left side of the power supply on that side are the modular connectors, and the graphics card is just too small for that. It's possible, of course, but it will be really difficult to actually pull it off, especially if you plan to use the additional 2 cages. Before we actually started using the rig, we checked if everything works by turning on the Steam box and looked if anything got stuck. We finished everything off by closing up the rig. It's pretty easy and straightforward. Like in a normal case, you only need 4 screws to close everything down. The Node 304 with everything fully loaded weighs in just below 9 kilos. Let's continue on with some benchmarking. As you can see from the video, everything is working fine. Here's the 750GB of solid state drive and 1TB of hard drive. 16GB of RAM are fully deployed on the Windows 8.1 Pro operating system. 4770K is working just fine and crunching the Cinebench render tests like it was no big deal. Since we had 22-inch 1680x1050 IPS LCD screen attached to our Steam box, we've done the rest of testing in Full HD resolution on our 46-inch Sony LCD TV. As you can see, 3D Mark 11 performance score is pretty decent and everything is running very smooth with high frame rates. All of this can be also set for the latest 3D Mark benchmark. Without further ado, here are some of the synthetic and game benchmarks that we run through on the Steambox machine. All in all, as you saw from test results, our interpretation of Steambox machine is capable of running any newer game at decent frame rates in high resolution and settings. Looking back on all of this, to draw some conclusion, it seems like the real and official Steambox is going to be one mini machine, especially those models with even higher specification with stronger graphics card. As for the graphics card temperature, the new and redesigned aftermarket FinFoods cooler from Gigabyte does a great job of cooling down the GTX 760. It keeps her right below 70 degrees Celsius in full load under stress testing, and while playing the number is even lower and more closer to the 60 degrees Celsius mark. Thank you guys once again for checking out our Steambox machine build. We really hope you like it. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you did, or you can share this video also. Leave us a comment if you have any questions or your opinions about the build, and of course subscribe to our TechTech YouTube channel for more further content like this.